Hello and welcome again for the third unit, and this is the third video of the third unit on robotics and automation for SNS College of Technology students of aerospace. Now I am Dr. Ilangovan, and then I am going to explain to you about the third unit. Now the third unit syllabus is already being repeated for here in this video. We're going to talk more about something like the bearings. Okay. Now, prior to that, last time we had discussed on the LM guideways. We'll continue with what is the bearing, etc. Bearings are part that assist objects of rotation. Okay, they support the shaft that rotates inside the machinery. So there will be a shaft which is tightly fit inside, and then as this rotates, then this inner race also rotates, and because of this, it rotates over the balls. Whereas the outer one is firmly held onto the other stationary part of or stationary part of the body. Now, machines that use bearings include automobiles, airplanes, electric generators, and so on. There are different kinds of bearings that we will also come and see now here. The types of bearings and their uses here. There are ball bearings. If this is a ball, then it's called as a ball bearing. Instead of ball, if I have rollers means it will have a line contact, and then it can take a much heavier load. Then we can have roller bearing. If there is no ball or the roller, you can have a plain bearing. You also have something called as a flexure bearing, and then you have a needle bearing, much thin and smooth there, and then linear bearing is there. Fluid bearing is another type. A magnetic bearing, where there's a magnet within a magnetic flux. It is being held onto the support is being there. You have also have a taper bearing, where you see this is more of a part of your frustum of cone, and then you have a cylindrical type. Okay, different types of bearings are for various applications are being used here. So we just understand that multiple bearings are there. The journal bearing versus thrust bearing is one. In the thrust bearing is more, the load is vertical, whereas the journal bearing it is a horizontal. The shaft is horizontal. Okay, here this is being more used in parts like mixer grinder, etc. And this is of course the regular type of bearing. The journal bearing, it doesn't have any ball, etc. It's more of a surface contact. Okay, so direction in which the load is being applied between the thrust ball bearing and thrust roller bearing. Okay, you see the housing here. This the outer race, and you also have the cage here. The cage holds the balls. Okay, or the cylinders here in this case. Okay, it's a cage that holds these two. This is the direction in which it is applied. Okay, the thrust bearing itself. There are two types. One is the thrust ball bearing, and the other one is the thrust roller bearing. Now, what is the selection criteria for bearings? Okay, so you have to look at speed. You have to look at loads. What is the life of the bearing? What is the temperature on which it is working? What is the type of actuation that is happening? What is the size of the motor? If there is any misalignment, etc. How do I overcome or accommodate that? And the contamination, any dirt particles, etc. All these things are a factor for the selection of criteria for a bearing. Now, in a catalog, in a company's catalog, you can have we have a bearing number, we have the ID, we have the inner diameter and the outer diameter, and the width is also there. And we'll have to choose which bearings. Bearings are never made inside a company. These are standard items, and then you design a bearing, and you select a bearing which is appropriately to your requirement. Okay, to the higher side, you can try and to take it. You will have to accommodate the standard part, and then in your design. So, calculate the radial and axial forces that is acting on the bearing, and determine the diameter of the shaft where the bearing is to be fitted. Then select the type of bearing to be given in the application for the given application. Determine the values x and y, the radial and the thrust factors from the data handbook. This is how the company's catalogs are there. There is a number for that has been given for the bearings. The first number that depicts of the bearing type, and you have the multiple different types here. You have uh, one, two, three, etc. The double ball. Then you have the roller. All the different kinds of bearings are all here. Based on that, the configurations are the first two letters are given. Next, we have the radial bearings and the thrust bearing. Between these two is the second one, and the third one is the diameter series. What type of diameter it is there, etc. That is what is being depicted on these numbers. Okay. So what does actually the bearing number say? Okay. The sixth is the bearing type. 3 is the bearing series, 05 is the bore size, and double Z is the sealing used, and C3 is the clearance. Okay, so we will stop here on this particular video, and then we'll get back to it. In this video. We have looked at the bearings, the use of the bearings, etc., and how it is being the different types of bearings we have looked at, how it is to be installed. Also we have looked at, and the numbers that the bearings possess, and how do you specify them. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll continue again. Um, Goodbye.